Hi, this is 365801 and this is my wrap-up video for the Buzzword Readathon. It took place on the 21st to the 27th of September 2020, with the buzzword being night. So this is the print titles that I was able to read for the week. I only had my TBR being mainly the four of them: Truly Kindly, which I needed to read before Lovers in the Night, and then This Night's Everything and Tonight's Takeout Night. I actually read Tonight's Takeout Night first, just because it was published first. And then I had an extra one which was going to be a reread, and that was Midnight Bloom, that I had already read but had no memory of. And of course the digital title Nights, or Night S, by Ko Yonoda, which was an absolute must of a reread for me. So I'm starting with Fumi Yoshinaga's Truly Kindly. I'm a little bit apprehensive about this just because, I don't know, whenever I see this I have this sense of foreboding, and also it's very old and it's full of one-shots, and there's always something about one of the one-shots that makes me go ugh. And I'm pretty sure that this is going to be the case as well, but never mind, we'll start with this one. Okay, so I just got to this first one, by the way. It's crazy. I'm not sure what's going on, but there was one panel that just made me laugh, and I just thought, that's so Fumi Yoshinaga. I don't know if you can see it. This panel right here, it's just a sliver of a panel, and it's like, the maid cooked, and a list of the foods. That is like peak Fumi Yoshinaga there. This weird effed up story. I mean, the two main characters in this one are so unsympathetic so far. One's weird and the other is a murderer. It's not good. I don't like either of them. I'm feeling very uncomfortable, and yet in the middle of it I burst out laughing because there was like teriyaki yellowtail, boiled spinach, miso soup with tofu and seaweed, pickled vegetables. You just had the middle of a murder story. Here's the menu. Oh, but it broke the tension for me. I don't feel so bad now. Oh, that is dead weird though. Anyway, gonna keep going. Okay, so I just finished this first one, Truly Kindly, Hontou ni Yasashi, and it's just the kind of story that I don't like, but I know it's supposed to make me think, but yeah, I did not enjoy it, other than the huge laugh I got in the middle. It's not my kind of story at all. Basically, it's a would-be murderer and an actual murderer. She comes up with these things, but it's that uncomfortableness that like, you're either in the mood for, you're not, and I'm not really in the mood for making me feel uncomfortable, so I don't want to like read Killing Stalking just now, and I'm not really sure if I want to read Painter of the Night, because it's that feeling that I don't really like, but it did make me laugh in the middle, so hopefully the next one will too. Okay, so I'm now on the third story. The second one was it was very, you know what it felt? It felt 80s. The second story felt 80s, like peak 80s nonsense. Like, let's put in some American stuff in, and you know, it's not my type of, it's fine. It's like, it kind of made me think of Banana Fish, but not in a, but in an 80s kind of way, which is not terrible. I mean, look at that cardigan. Woo woo, early 90s fashion. Yeah, so not really my kind of thing. But anyway, I'm on this third one, and I was actually quite liking the main character, but his love interest is anyway, so he spotted him with this girl and they were kissing, and then he's like, oh, here in this panel, another laugh out loud moment. Oh, that's my sister. Our family does things American style, like kissing. No! No! Ugh. Ah, Fumi Yoshinaga. And basically this comes up in so many Japanese things. Like, the whole idea of kissing is American. Like, they just equate any kind of, you know, like, display of affection as an American trait. As though it's only Americans who kiss. If you've ever met a French person, that is so not true. I have to say, I did get kissed on the cheeks by this lovely American man I met, not American, French man I met, and oh, my legs just went to jelly. He said something in French to me and kissed me on the cheeks, and I was like, ooh. So it really should be, you know, like, I'm British, so yeah, French always seems like more of a kissing thing for me. But it's that whole idea of what you're culturally, the stereotype. And this comes up in so many anime and manga, and it's just wrong. Stop it, Japan. No. And also, who kisses their... let's find it. Let's find this. I mean, she kissed him on the cheek, and then he kissed her on the cheek. I know, it's like not big, but anyway, it's so silly. But it made me laugh. It's another one. I don't think I like this couple. Assault. It's assault. Like, everyone so far is just assault. And that's what I don't like about these old ones. It's just like, oh, let's just gloss over this. Anyway, let's see if it gets better. Hopefully it gets better. Okay, so I'm just going to skip over the fourth one shot because it was boring. Got nothing else to say on it. But this character is supposed to be called Sylvanian, and I'm just like, families? You can't have certain words without having the connection with other things. So yeah. So far I'm liking it though. I love this. I'm wondering, is this the whole Lovers in the Night thing, or is there more? Because it looks like it carries on for the rest of it, but I'm looking at the characters and they're not quite the same because he's got, looks like glasses, and neither of these have glasses, so. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. Okay, so I just got to the end and I was looking at the date. So this was published in August 2007, but it says Honto ni Yasashi Fumi Yoshinaga 1997. 1997! Such a long time ago, and even then it was 10 years old when it was published. So I just finished it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but it's still pretty bad. Yeah, I did prefer the old French set kinds. There's still things in it that was like meh. But like culturally, but I actually quite like this one a bit more. It was definitely sexier as well, and I liked the characters. So yeah, other than one of them being called Sylvanian, I just thought that was funny, like Sylvanian families. So yeah, Truly Kindly, done. It does not have night in the title, so I'm moving on to Lovers in the Night. So we'll see how this one goes. Anyway, so I just finished Lovers in the Night. That was actually a really quick read, much quicker than Truly Kindly. Well, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was more involved. Maybe I was just rushing Truly Kindly. But Lovers in the Night, my first one for night, and I actually really liked this. This is good. This was Claude and Antoine, who were introduced in Truly Kindly, and their story, and they end up going off to, I'm guessing, some sort of Russian, Austrian. They had to run away from the French Revolution. I really like them. I think they're dead sweet, and I like their interactions and how silly they are, and it's just a really nice story actually. So yeah, I do recommend this. This is a good one. You know, you have to read it. You don't have to read the whole of Truly Kindly, and I wouldn't bother. Just read the ones with the people with the fantastic clothes. Oh, just love costumes, and they're very sexy, very sexy. Oh, there was a bit of yes. So maybe I'll cut that out. No, I won't. I'll just stick it in. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. This was actually really nice. So I'm glad I finally read it. Finally read it. Yay! So I have finished the first two for this readathon. I'm almost out of my tea though. I need to get some more. It's gone a bit cold. You know when you're just reading and it's just kind of like, you've got just the last dregs and it's still a bit cold. So yeah, I'm gonna get some more tea and move on to the June manga, the Akira, what's it called? The Tonight's Takeout one. So I just got to make sure I'm reading them in the right order, so I'll check the dates on them first. So while the kettle is boiling, I've just got these out of the drawer and I'm just going to check, and they always have the dates at the front for these ones. So we can see, let's see, maybe we can't see. Here we go, that is June the 11th. And this was published in 2009. Let's see if this one helps at all. Oh no! June the 11th, 2011. June 11th, and this is also 2010. Yay! So that helps us a bit. So this one, which was originally published in 2009, must be the first one I should read. So I should read this one. Even if they're not connected, I'll at least know that I'm reading Tonight's Takeout Night, and then moving on to This Night's Everything. So I'm going to start with this one, when my kettle has boiled and I've got hot water. So I'm waiting at the train station, and so I'm just going to have a wee quick read of Tonight's Takeout Night by Akira Minazuki. See if I can get some more of this TBR finished. So I came back from work and I just finished reading Tonight's Takeout Night, and yes, there was takeout in it. So in this there is 3 stories, and the first one has a couple of chapters and it's about these 2 characters. On the front, Kei-chan, who is cute, and also the man who's in charge of the shop. It's kind of like a moss burger. They call it crest burger. But yeah, so there's Kei-chan and Iwakiri-san, who is the boss, the manager of the shop, and Kei-chan, who is like part of the head office, and their kind of relationship. He comes to work in the shop, and it's dead cute. The artwork's really nice. I liked it. It was just a kind of quick story, so it was quite nice. I liked it. It was enjoyable. And then the next story was all about these 2 guys. One of them's not really very pretty, but not really human, and just likes to seduce men and try and take heat from them. It's very cold. Some sort of like Yuki Onna, but Yuki Otoko, I guess. And a doctor who he befriends in the mountains, and it's sort of a piece set like historically. So I didn't really like that one so much. I much preferred the more modern one with Kei-chan. He was cute as a character. I wasn't so much of a fan of this historical piece. And then right at the end, when I thought it was over, there was another story, Love at Your Fingertips, and it was about these 2 sculptors. One is very young but a master sculptor, and he takes on an apprentice student from the university, and they get on really well. And so Makimura-san is the student, and then what's the name of the Yutaka? Fujimori-san. Yutaka, he's the young sculptor who takes on the apprentice, and they just have a nice wee relationship, and it's just like a one shot story, but I really liked it. The art style is, I think, it's very particular, but it's to someone's taste. You know, you don't always have a habit of drawing the lines on their face in that particular way, and I have to say I prefer their faces when they don't have the lines on. Like this, you can see here, just have a couple of lines. It's such a cute wee face, but then, you know, then you have this one here with the lines on their face, show they're all blushy. But it was dead nice, sweet. Tonight's takeout night, so I'm going to see if I can read the other Akira Minazuki title tonight as well. So there was a little something in this story with Kei-chan and Iwakiri-san that I just really love. That as soon as he spotted him, he just had this like moment, and he just had this really funny little interaction with him. And one of the funniest bits was him asking lots of questions, and especially when he was like, "How old are you?" and he mentions that he's 26, and he answers, "Nice and young." And I was at the train station and laughed out loud, and some people were looking at me funny, so I was like, la 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 la, but I just thought that was really funny. It was a nice sweet interaction. But yeah, that was a good story. I really liked them. Okay, I just got it, and it's This Night's Everything, so I'm gonna have a wee read of this and see what it's like. So I just finished reading This Night's Everything, which is the other book by Akira Minazuki, and it follows these two characters, Aoi and Nanao, and they are assassins in a sort of bodyguard organization group called Shiki, which is kind of like those who kill, and they do assassinations but bodyguard work as well. And Nanao's been doing it for a long time, and he takes Aoi under his wing as a partner, teaches him the ropes, the new recruit, but ends up having feelings for him. Aoi's got a sort of tragic backstory too that kind of unravels as the story progresses, and it's just their story. There's no other stories, unlike Tonight's Takeout Night, which had 3 different stories. This Night's Everything is just their story and no one else's, and actually it's quite nice to just sit and read their story. Really quick reading, the same kind of artwork, very nice, easy read. Didn't take me very long at all, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was a good one. Assassinations and machinations and other kinds of political intrigue and that kind of thing too. So yeah, it was nice. It was a sweet one. I liked it. So I've managed to get 2 read tonight, finished tonight, and I think just before I go to bed I'll take up Midnight Bloom, which, as I mentioned in my TBR video, would be a reread from last year. This is Riko Fukuyama's Midnight Bloom, which I definitely read, but I don't remember what it was about. If I read the blurb on the back, it might make me remember. Next star actor with a gorgeous face and a heartbreaking history with men. No memory of it whatsoever. Anyway, so I'm going to take Midnight Bloom to bed with me and have a wee read and go to sleep. I'll see what I think about it tomorrow morning. So I've got a nice cup of coffee and a wee jammy donut, and I'm going to try and finish this book, Midnight Bloom, while I have my breakfast. Let's see if I can get it done. I really like reading the sections at the end. You can find out a lot more things about the stories and how the author went about writing them or the issues that they had. In this volume, this is Midnight Bloom by Riko Fukuyama. I started it a couple of days ago, and I apparently read it around February or March in 2019, and honestly I have absolutely no memory of any of these stories, so that just kind of goes to show the kind of BL manga this is. For a start, it is lots of different stories together. Well, in actual fact, as you can see from the back section, it's 4 different stories, but with different chapters. So it starts with Midnight Bloom, and then at the back it says 3 bouquets, 1 love, and that's a continuation of Midnight Bloom. And there's The Big Shiba, which is a kind of standalone one. Now and Then My Heart Pounds, which is kind of 2 or 3 chapters of a story, and then Scratch That Itch, which is a one-shot. Midnight Bloom, I didn't know this, because I don't think she's had her other works published. It says that Tatsuki-chan was from Popped Collar Princess, so he's obviously someone who didn't manage to get his happy ending, and so she's written a spin-off for him. And in the 4 comma at the end, her assistant's like, no, he definitely doesn't end up with this person. So they decided to write a new love interest, which is a florist. So when I read it, I was like, this seems odd, and I don't get it, and why. There's obviously a lot going on, there's some backstory here, and I don't understand any of it. But now reading this at the back, it makes a lot more sense that there's another story going on, and that person is actually part of that story, but we don't have that story. So I don't know what was going on, but he obviously was in love with someone else and didn't manage to get that person. So this makes more sense having read that little section at the end. And then of course at the end they've got another thing where I think they're setting up the manager with another character. So it's once again the power of 3 couples going on. I didn't like it. It was very quick and it seemed like there was a story missing, which there was. So it makes sense now, but I still don't think it's a great story. The artwork's lovely, but it's very contrived. Which is funny because she does mention that when it comes to one of the other stories. Maybe all of these are a bit contrived. This next story is The Big Shiba, and this is it, The Big Shiba. And it's just one of those really stupid, like really entitled rich children, and then they take someone and they make them their pet. I don't understand why these are so popular. And then, oh, they fall in love. That's it. That's basically the story. And it's really rubbish, so I'm not really a big fan of it either. So, and then the other one was about an onsen boy. There's quite a big age gap between them. I didn't really like that one either. And then this last one, that was just a one-shot. It was so predatory. Scratch That Itch. It was about a teacher and a student, and they get it on. That's it. But she says that that is really contrived. It was a one-shot requested by the readers. It's pretty contrived. Yes, all of them are. So yeah, I finally read it. I will now hopefully remember what's going on in Midnight Bloom when I see it again. The artwork's nice, it's very well put together, but it's very throwaway, easy-ozy kind of stories. So yeah, at least I've read it now. And, well, for a second time. Maybe I'll remember this time. So last night I was reading Nights by Ko Yoneda, which is a Sublime manga title. It's really lovely. I just love it. I love Yoneda Ko's work, and her artwork is just so beautiful. So lovely. I love these characters as well. So in Nights you've got a series of stories. So Nights, which is the sort of Yakuza-esque story. Emotion Spectrum, which is just like a one-shot high school story, and then Reply, which is a really cute, like, I guess, mechanic and salesperson story. It's just really sweet. It's lovely. And then you've got Reply Part 1 and Part 2, and then Reply to Reply, a Reply 3 months later. So it's quite a substantial part of Nights, and then a Night 1 month later. So that links to the Night story as well. So it is a series of stories together, and I know I kind of a little bit, I guess, disparaging about those kind of titles, but anthologies, that kind of thing, they're usually very throwaway. You can usually forget about the stories. You can't forget about these stories. These stories stay with you for years and years. Anyway, so Night Story is a really good one. It's about a Yakuza who is trying to get some things smuggled into Japan, and so he's using a transporter. So I'm not going to spoil it for you if you haven't read it, because it's great. There's a great twist in the end. But and I'm not going to show too much here either, because you do need to go and purchase this. Please buy this. Please buy this. But there's a scene in it, and I know everyone's thinking of that scene, and it is a great scene, and it just makes me feel, yay! It's so good. The characters are just wonderful. I love this character. What to call him? Look at that artwork though. Oh, look at that artwork. So good. So good. Yeah, so I just want to make sure I get the... So, yeah, Masato Karashima is the transporter's name, but the main character here, I'm just trying to remember, is it Misami? Misaki, that's it, Misaki. So yeah, Misaki. He's the best. He's great. He's fantastic. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's slow burning. There's lots of like angstiness. There's like underlying currents. That's what I love about some BL. Underlying currents. Wish I had ASMR, but I don't. But yeah, underlying currents of desire. Yeah. I think that's what I really like. Slow moving, maybe slow burn, underlying currents of desire. Yes, that's definitely it. Like, be careful. You know, there's like a riptide under there. It's an underlying current of desire. Yes. So yeah, Yonada Ko definitely has that. So she has like tension building, and that shows to me that she's a good writer, not just a good mangaka, but she's a good writer. She knows and understands that for a reader, interest needs to be built, and so yeah, she builds with little things, like with subtle looks and with the choice of words, and just, you know, the littlest of emotions being shown and sometimes not being shown. I just really like it. It's very adult, it's very mature, and it doesn't pander to the audience in any way. You've got to do your work as the reader as well, so I really like that. So yeah, I'm going to go on to the next one. Okay, so the next one is Emotion Spectrum. That's the high school story. Here we've got two boys who are kind of just your general dudes in school, and then there's another guy who kind of is lurking in the background, and his name is Usui. And longing looks, the underlying current of desire there once again, but this time it's high school boys, and one of them notices, Kugo, he notices that Usui is looking at his friend with eyes of desire, and so he decides to, well, he gets really interested in him for a start, and so he decides to talk to him and help him. And so in terms of actually hanging out with him, he gets to know him, and in a way is annoyed that this boy Usui is actually in love with his friend. He starts to feel things. and I just love it. It's a little slow burn as well, and there's the payoff at the end, which is just lovely, as you would expect. So yeah, it's a good one as well. High school boys, they're very overtly sexual already at this stage, so you know, that's how it is. That's how it is. So. So yeah, I really liked it. I liked the dynamics. I liked the school setting. I liked them sitting in McDonald's chatting. It just felt very real. Yeah, so I really like this story as well. I do think that Kugo is very mature in terms of his appearance. He's very manly looking already, which you sometimes get in high school. So yeah, I like this one as well. It's a cute one. And I like their... See, look at that! Longing looks! Whoa, longing looks. So good, so good. Anyway, I'll go on to the next one. Let's see. This is going to be Reply. Now, Reply actually took a long time for her to write. She just did them like one-shots over several years, I think. And then ended up adding a few extras for this volume to come out. So the Reply to Reply and how many months after. And it's basically about a car mechanic, Seki, this is him, and also the salesperson who he doesn't really get along well with any of the salesmen, but for some reason he seems to get on quite well with this Takami. So Takami and Seki, I think they just seem to kind of click more than anyone else, and yeah, it's just this, once again, it's kind of slow burn. They get on really well. There was things about this, so every time I've read this so many times, guys, so many times. There's a bit in it that I forget it every single time. I forget. So they end up becoming friends. They kind of like, oh, there's something about you that's different. So Seki, he kind of notices that he's a little bit more than just a salesperson. He actually cares about the customers as well. So they end up getting along quite well. It's obvious that Seki has kind of a thing for him. Like, he can't stop thinking about him, but he doesn't want to think about him. But for Takami, he's kind of like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like he's all that interested. And then they end up just hanging out and being friends. And then there's this one point when I just need to find it because it's really good, and I forget about it every single time. There's like just bits about how they get on really well, and then they end up there. Here it is. So there's this panel where they're eating at some sort of family restaurant. They're eating at a bar, and he's asleep here at this other place, and he's taking a photograph of him. Like, why would you do that? And every single time I read this story, I forget that this panel happens. And how kind of important it is. And how it's just like slipped in there. Like, oh, just gonna take this photograph of his sleeping face. Because we're friends, right? And that's all it is. Look at that face. That face isn't just like, we're just friends. Anyway, so... yeah, I just loved it. I loved it, and I loved the extras as well that she wrote, especially for they're just cute. They're just such a cute wee couple. So I really enjoyed reading this one. And then of course I also read the Another Night as well, which is really good. Once again, beautiful artwork, really lovely. Wonderful, wonderful. You can tell though there is a slight difference in the quality. Now this is something that I probably should point out, because this is a digital only extra, and in a way you can also tell how there's been a sort of a change in her Yona Deko's artwork. Not majorly, but you can tell that she's gone from hand-drawn to digital. So the quality of these images are much higher than the digital quality of Nights. So I just want to point that out, that there's an obvious shift from Nights, which was produced a long time ago, probably like a decade and a half ago, some of them, the chapters would have been drawn, hand-drawn as usual. So the quality of the digital image is not as high as what Another Night is. It's very much like this has been produced on a computer rather than this has been produced by hand. So there is a different shift there. But it is beautiful, it's lovely. I just 100% recommend it. It's just so nice. And of course, if you like Gyono Deco, you'll love this. So I don't need to tell you. So yeah, it was a pleasure to once again read Nights for this readathon. So in terms of my wrap up, I didn't actually get loads read this week. I am unfortunately back working full time, and I say unfortunately, I mean unfortunately, back working full time, and it does involve a lot of extra work and a lot of stress, and so I need to be able to read to de-stress, but at the same time I feel stressed about getting things done, so I need to work extra, and I don't really like it. So yeah, it was probably the worst week to do a readathon. If I'd done any weeks leading up to this week, I probably would have got a lot more read, but as it was, I'm quite pleased that I managed to get 6 volumes. Well, 7 if you count the extra Another Night, so 7 volumes. I did want to read a few other things as well, if possible, but I just really didn't have the time. I was really pleasantly surprised about Truly Kindly and Lovers in the Night. I actually enjoyed most of the stories, and I did enjoy the French Revolutionary setting. It was fun, and I liked the characters as well. So I'm pleased that I finally sat down and read them. I kind of heard some things about them that some people said, and it just made me feel a little bit apprehensive about it, and like, oh, is it going to be really angsty? Is it going to be really depressing? It wasn't. I really liked it. It was kind of fun and uplifting. So yeah, I'm really pleased that I finally read these 2 Fumi Yoshinaga titles. Also, Tonight's Takeout Night. It was kind of set in a kind of Mossburger. I really loved that because it made me remember Mossburger. Mossburger is a chain of like burger restaurants in Japan, and they do it slightly higher class than a McDonald's. You know, the buns are a bit better. They put a lot more salad in the burgers. You get table service, and they come in little baskets. It's just a nice atmosphere. It's a nice experience going to Mossburger, and I used to love going to Mossburger. So yeah, it's one of those, oh, I've never been here, I don't know what it's about. Yeah, so if you get a chance to go to Mossburger, Mossburger is a nice place to go. And so it kind of had that setting, and I really liked it. There was an element, I do have to say, warning, non-lube, a lube substitute warning has to be in place. I think that should just be a general BL tag, lube substitute warning. Like, no, put the cream down, it doesn't work, don't do it. Which made me laugh quite a lot. The artwork was stunning, it was lovely, I really liked it. Yeah, so I really enjoyed Tonight's Takeout Night. There were the different stories in there, and it wasn't too fast, it didn't feel too fast paced. I don't think I'm going to forget about what the story is, so I think it's memorable enough for me to keep it in mind for a few years. This Night's Everything was really fast. I read it so quickly, and when I had to think about it afterwards, I was like, a couple of days later, I was like, what was this one about? And then I remembered, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, Assassin's great. And that's all I need to remember. Assassin's great. Okay, yeah, I remember it now. It was nice, but it didn't have the same comedy, fun element of Tonight's Takeout Night. I think I preferred the characters in Tonight's Takeout Night. And then I reread Midnight Bloom. Well, I had no memory of it, and even as I was reading it, I had no memory of it. So I think I had my assessment correct the first time when I was making my TBR, that it's just that kind of a BL manga. It's the kind where you get a series of stories, and you may remember them or you may forget them, and I will probably forget these. So probably next week when you ask me what's Midnight Bloom about, I'll be like, flowers? I don't know. So it's kind of throwaway manga. But yeah, there you go. And of course, the absolute standout is Nights. I just love it. I could reread it and reread it and reread it. It's so good. And pick up on little things just by like, oh, that looks really good. I really like that look. And when when you first read it, it's like really powerful. And then it just becomes a nostalgic read. So I love Nights. Now, the one thing that I did not get to do was read any of the other digital titles, and I didn't get to read or reread The Night Beyond the Tri-Cornered Window. But I'm okay with that because I know that it's coming out, the next volume, volume 7, is coming out in October, probably like the first or second week in October. So I'm glad I'm not reading it just now, or I haven't read it already. So it gives me the first week of October to sit and read. So I will do a reread just before it comes out. Even if I'm so stressed, this will what I'll be reading next is The Night Beyond the Tri-Cornered Window. I absolutely love it, and I'm raring for the next one. Can't wait, it's going to be so good. And yes, I will try my best to do a sort of review video for that. Because I really want to promote it, I want to publicise it, I want everyone to read it. So if you haven't already, go and get the volumes, they're really good. So yeah, this is it. This is my wrap up for the Buzzword Readathon. I'm looking forward to the way that they're going to do it next year and what they're going to choose, so I can dip in and out depending on how busy I am. So next January should be interesting, and that will be the next Buzzword Readathon. Every time it will be the third week in the month, and they'll have different words, 12 different words for the year. So I'm looking forward to taking part as and when is appropriate and as and when I can. So yeah, this has been a good experience. I'm glad I managed to get 4 volumes that I haven't read yet read. That's always an achievement. If you read them, let me know what you think, or if I've convinced you to go and get it. I don't think I have. I'm not very convincing. Unless it's Nights, buy Nights. I'm telling you right now, go buy Nights. And The Night Beyond the Tri-Cornered Window, go buy that too. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this. I'll see you in the next one. It's been interesting making a vlog. I don't usually do it, so I don't know if I'll continue. I'm not very good at vlogging. I'm much more of I should probably make a podcast instead. Anywho, this has just gone a bit nuts. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!